Hello and welcome to another GCSE literature lesson. Today we'll be talking about the theme of ambition in Macbeth. The theme of ambition in Macbeth. Or we all know Macbeth, the play Macbeth written by Shakespeare. We know that Macbeth is the main character in the play and it's also the title. And that's now Macbeth at the beginning wasn't really ambitious, but the wife manipulation triggered the ambition in him. So we say that, but what happened to him? Ambition corrupts him and it led him from being a general to a tyrant. These are his flaws, his amnesia. This make him a tragic hero because he died at the end, obviously. So he's a tragic hero of this character, of this play. He's retaining his throne, made him to commit more and more killings. He killed and he kept killing. That was the way of him showing his own guilt, because at the end of the play his own punishment was guilt, and this guilt led him to killing more and more people, and this led to more evil acts by him. He himself admitted that he has a voting ambition. That is one thing you can quote. You can also talk about the fact that after they killed Duncan and the dagger was in his hand, he said, "Sleep no more," meaning he knows he can't sleep anymore. This is kind of feel of guilt. He said he can't sleep no more. And there was a time when he was feeling guilty. He told Lady Macbeth that he won't sleep. And with the dagger in his hand, he said, "I can't sleep no more. Sleep no more." Also, when he felt guilty and a bit, let's say a bit remorseful, he said Neptune's ocean would never wash his hands clean of the blood, because he noticed that there was blood in his hands. So you can relate this, you can talk about this. His amnesia, is a tragic hero, his genocide, and you can also talk about this quotation. They are very, very important. And context, remember to relate your work to context for your grade 9 score. Remember, so when you want to add context to this, you can talk about the fact that Shakespeare presented this play for in the King James court. He presented this play in King James court. It was acted in the court to warn King James noble men against trying to take over the king, or take over the throne from King James, to restrain from it and to tell them the dangers, to warn them about the dangers of ambitions. That was the main reason why Shakespeare acted this play on the stage in the King James court, to warn his noblemen against ambition. And then obviously ambition was a sin. They feel that it's unnatural for you to be ambitious. So when you read it to the context, you get your grade 9 score. Another character would want to talk about on the theme of ambition is Lady Macbeth. Lady Macbeth is a major character you can talk about when you're writing about the theme of ambition. Now, Lady Macbeth, you know, from the beginning, right from the beginning, Lady Macbeth has love for power and ambition. She's kind of going against the Jacobean women nature. And if you notice from the beginning, Macbeth was not really the ambitious type. At the beginning, he didn't start up of ambition. We saw him as a general, as a noble man to the King Duncan. But for Lady Macbeth, the first time we were introduced to her, at the beginning, she was already an ambitious woman with love for power. So you would want to talk about the fact that she has love for ambition and power, and this make her go against the nature, her nature as a woman, as a Jacobean woman who's supposed to just be respectful and loyal to her husband. But in the other way around, she is instead of her to be respectful, loyal, and listen to her husband and be the one to be the supportive wife, she's going against the nature of a Jacobean woman, She is the one that even wants to, if it's possible for her to even take the throne, she doesn't mind. She's more ambitious than even her husband. So at the beginning, we were introduced to her as ambitious and power, and as a woman that was power hungry. And again, she manipulates Macbeth into committing regicide. She manipulated him into killing the King Duncan, because Macbeth at a point was like, he doesn't want to. He was indecisive, but she manipulated him. We see many places where she swear in the quotation where she say, "When you just do it, then you were a man," meaning she is challenging his masculinity, challenging him in such a way that if you don't do it, then you are not a man. So She manipulated him and she made him to commit genocide because she was already a corruptive woman and she was power hungry. So this started as being corruptive and ambition. She later became mad. Then remember, just the way we did Macbeth. When you are writing a theme about a character, make sure you follow the character all through to the end, from the beginning to the end. We know at the beginning we saw her as a powerful someone that can manipulate her husband, that kind of controls her husband. But at the end of the play, what happened? She became more remorseful, not as powerful as we saw her before, as highly rated. Now she became more like hallucinating, more remorseful, more calm, feeling guilt, as opposed to Macbeth, who at the beginning was feeling like he was being controlled by his wife. But what did we see at the end? At the end, he became more powerful, more killing people. He didn't even go back to his wife for advice anymore. He has even now become more ambitious than his wife. But at the beginning of the play, we saw Lady Macbeth as someone who was ambitious, power hungry, manipulative, corruptive. But what happened to her at the end? At the end, she began to run mad. She was hallucinating, daydreaming. She was hallucinating. She was feeling guilty. She was having nightmares. And it was seen then as a divine punishment for her. Guilt was a divine punishment. She was hallucinating, feeling guilty, remorseful at the end. And we saw the way she manipulated her husband in all this quotation, where she doubts her husband's masculinity. When she says, "Oh, sex me," she wishes to be a man so that she can carry out the act easily. She's kind of going against her gender. She wishes she was a man. On sex me, pour my spirit in their ear. These are all the ways showing I'm a manipulative and ambitious side. And then when she started feeling all guilty and started hallucinating, started daydreaming, started seeing blood, having nightmares, she said out them spots where she felt that blood was in her hands. She was feeling as if there was blood in her hands, and she was like, out them spots. She wanted the spot to leave her hands. These are all signs of guilty conscience. Will these hands never be clean? You know, previously, Macbeth said something like that, Neptune, the old waters in Neptune cannot wash his hand. And she's also saying something like that, can her hands be clean? This shows guilt. This shows a divine punishment. And we can relate also this. Remember, just like Macbeth, you relate this also to the context of the Jacobean era then. The context in why Shakespeare wrote this. Because of her ambitiousness and her character in this play, Jacobean sees her as the fourth witch, because then when you're ambitious, it's unnatural. They believe that you should go with whatever thing God has asked you to be. You shouldn't be ambitious, too ambitious to get something. So they saw her as the fourth witch because she went against nature. Another character we are going to be talking about is the character of Macduff when it comes to the theme of ambition. Macduff is the opposite of Macbeth, and we also see him as someone that came to correct the divine nature of being. He was the one who killed Macbeth in battle, and after killing Macbeth, he didn't come to say, oh, he wasn't ambitious. Okay, I killed him, I killed the tyrant of the whole country, I killed him, so I'm going to become king. No, he killed Macbeth and handed over the throne to Malcolm, showing that he has restored back the great chain of being by actively killing Macbeth and handing over the throne to no one else but Malcolm. And we can see this divine right of being that he has restored. We can actually see it in the quotation where he said, most sacrilegious murderer. This was what he was referring to. This is when he was the first person to find Duncan's dead body. He found Duncan's dead body, and then he saw it and said, this is the most sacrilegious murderer, showing that nature has changed. Killing of Duncan has gone against nature. It has disrupted the great chain of being, and he restored it by killing Macbeth at the end. And he also showed his disgust for Macbeth's character, Macbeth's ambition, by referring to him as the devil, by saying, this fiend of Scotland. That's referring to Macbeth as devilish. So he was the one who restored back the glory, the lost glory that was taken away by Macbeth, and restored back the great. So Shakespeare uses him as someone who has come to restore back the great chain of being by handing over the throne to Malcolm and killing Macbeth. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time on another topic or probably another theme or another character.